who else but the man, the myth, the legend, Praveen. We have Praveen, one of our most legendary toons, and even some of our other cash league veterans over here. So thanks a lot, Praveen. Great to have you here.
Stop it.
Hi, Praveen. How are you?
Hey, Sanjay. Long time no see. I think it's been almost a decade, right? Since we've seen each other. Great to catch up with you again, and how nice that it's FPL that made us cross our paths.
Yeah, man, who would have thought 10 years back that the next time we see each other would be on this?
I swear. Good to be here. This show, episode 2. I saw episode 1 with you and Jay. That was some great stuff. And life has come a full circle, right? From sitting and seeing FPL podcast to finally being in one place. It's a great feeling.
One thing I'll never forget is how last season, I think I was leading it for almost 80-90% of the till I think gave me 34, 35, and then all of a sudden you come out of nowhere and take the league. But good stuff, man. I think excellent move. You got Guardiola, I think was one with
Isaac. You got Isaac Guardiola.
In your side, right?
That was a crazy feeling.
Guardiola was the game changer, I think so. And last season was quite a bit topsy-turvy. I think the season started out with Azor taking the lead, and then I was there for a short period of time, and then once Sanjay sort of came to pole position, after that it looked like he was just galloping away, no way to catch up to him. But I think our chip strategy is varied a little bit, and that sort of went my way. So a good season. It was good. Let's see how this one goes.
So Praveen, about you, man, the man behind the FPL.
Yeah, I mean, we started playing FPL when about 10 years ago now. I think so. And ever since we started it out, I think it was love at first sight. But frankly speaking, it was, I was just totally obsessed with this game. Before I got married also, I told my wife, look, I have a full-time commitment. It's this thing called FPL. So it's better that you also get on board. So she also plays FPL with me now for the last 3 years.
She has to join us next year, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think she's just learning the ropes. So, next year definitely I'll try to introduce her to the Tools League as well. Yeah, it's been, FPL has been a great distraction in life, actually.
And outside FPL, which team do you support?
Me and Jay are Arsenal fans, and our hatred for United is more than our love for Arsenal. I'm sorry to say that, Sanjay. So I know you're a United fan. So
yeah. I think you guys have been close for the last 2 years. I hope you all remain just close.
Come on, I think being a United fan, you'll also be bored of seeing City win it, 4 times in a row. Don't you want to change, Sanjay? Come on.
Let's see. Well, I prefer City over Arsenal, but let's see.
See, dude, there's one advantage of being an Arsenal fan. It prepares you for so much. It prepares you for so much. Anything in FPL can't come as a shock to you. Haaland blanks, big deal. Bruno scores a hat-trick, yes, ho sakta hai. We are Arsenal fans, bro.
Yeah. You've seen it all.
So, Praveen, you did say you've been playing since 10 years. So, why don't you take us through some of your highs and lows? What has been your best overall rank?
Oh, yeah. I think best overall rank came quite soon after, I started playing FPL 2000 odd, that you can just see on the screen. I think that was the Conte season at Chelsea with Hazard, Diego Costa, and Cesc Fabregas there. So, that season went almost every move that I made sort of went my way. And after that, I've been humbled quite a bit following seasons. So sort of, brought me back to earth saying that, okay, that luck and fortune also plays a big part. But, over the years, one thing that how, the way that you play FPL changes is that you start focusing more on the process rather than on the outcome. You know that the outcome can, go your way, cannot go your way, but you just try to focus on trying to make good logical decisions, trying to get the highest point score. So yeah, I see that we made a segue into the next segment.
Yeah, so on that, in fact, I mean, what kind of manager would you be? I mean, looking at your lines, it looks like you are somebody who probably plans them pretty well. But how would you describe yourself as a manager?
Yeah, like very similar to you, Sanjay. Whatever you said on the last episode, right? I'm also very safe manager. I am hits averse, but open to taking hits if the need arises. But I don't plan to take hits. So I plan to sort of spread out my transfers, and I plan ahead quite a bit. But I'm very open to sort of throwing that plan away if situation changes or if like information changes completely. And very safe in terms of picks as well. For me, like expected minutes, is this guy going to play most of the minutes? Is this guy going to start? Is like number one criteria for like filtering out players, I would say. So I'm less on the punty side and more on the safe side. Definitely. Yeah, I mean, and I love planning as well, right? So whenever for example, for game week 2 right now, if I want to make a transfer, I first approach it in a way that if I was making a wild card today, what would my team be? So that's the sort of team then I try to build towards and say, okay, if I need this team, then what is the most priority transfer I need to make this week in order to sort of like get there? And then next week again, when I'm planning my transfers, I again make sort of like a wildcard team. What is my ideal team right now for the next 5 or 6 or 7 game weeks that I want, right? And from there, I just try to optimize moves as much as possible. And this sort of, it works well for me. And one thing in particular that I've noticed is that if I'm seeing a lot of football, then my FPL decisions are also turn out to be more right. Higher chances of like hit rate if I'm seeing football consistently. If I'm missing out on a lot of football, then I'm just going by sort of lagging indicators, right? How many goals have scored, or how many assists have they given. But when you sort of see football, I think sometimes you can tend to pick out on some leading indicators that have not turned into outcomes yet. You see a player, getting into good positions, they're having a chance. Okay, they scuffed the shot a bit, but it could have almost gone in, sort of a thing. So seeing football definitely gives me a lot of edge in terms of FPL decision making.
So, Praveen, that's interesting. You talk about the eye test, right? Actually watching players rather than looking at how many goals someone scored or the assists or the clean sheets. But what's your take on some of the leading indicators in terms of stats, right? Like if you have a team which has very high expected goals scored, but they're not actually doing it right, so you tend to believe that in the long run, the numbers would catch up. So how important is that to you as opposed to going by the eye test in itself?
Yeah, over the last few years, I would say, like 5 to 7 years, statistics in football, there's just been really like a huge outburst. And not just in football, a lot of those statistics, you will see the prime consumers of these statistics. First one are the football clubs themselves. Number two are fantasy managers like ourselves. Okay, like these are the two primary markets for people who consume like football stats most. And over the past few years, they've worked so well to bring out all these indicators to like that one number that you can say that like who's going to get more goals and more assists. Basically, your expected goals, right? Expected goals, expected assists, or expected goal involvements, expected non-penalty goal involvements. So that one number is something that we've seen that really holds good. Like if a person has like 10 xg, but they've had only like 7 goals, then you can definitely expect that they're going to catch up to their numbers pretty soon in the future. Apart from that, like other stats that I generally try to look at are shots in the box, and shots in the target. If there is a player, let's say from midfield, who's getting a high number of shots in the box, even without seeing football, you can conclude that either this guy is playing out of position as a striker, or he's somehow landing up in a lot of like good scoring positions. So sometimes even without seeing football, also stats go a long way. And I use stats quite a bit as well. Although I talked quite a bit about the eye test, I rely quite a bit on stats. And nowadays, all the expected assists goals, etc. Even it's available on the Fantasy Premier League site as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is the best indicator of points, I would say.
Interesting you say that, Praveen. And also, what I'm noticing of late is there's a lot of democratization of this data, right? Earlier, I mean, you had to, really buy those databases, right? But now as you mentioned, they've integrated into the app. They've also built some level of, fixture difficulty ratings.
Yes.
Try to incorporate that. So they're trying to engage managers more. I think that's always a very positive thing. But more on your philosophy, Praveen. Apart from the numbers and the eye test, what else? What else do you look at?
Yeah, I mean, apart from numbers and eye test, like the other one you can say is, are you more of a form versus fixture kind of a person? So I sort of I plan for fixtures, but that part that I said earlier that I'm ready to change my mind. So even if a player has like a tough set of fixtures, but I see that player is really hitting form, and if that player is sort of like a talisman in the team. Like for me now, if let's say Palmer starts getting involved a lot in Chelsea's goals, etc., and even if Chelsea has like tough fixtures, I wouldn't mind moving on to Palmer immediately. So talisman theory is the other one also that I always try to look at. Like who's the player that is going to be involved in most number of goal involvements, either if it's goal or assist. And generally, for like a few teams, one talisman emerges. In City, it used to be really difficult that you wouldn't know who the talisman was going to be. And obviously, Haaland has made things so simple over there for City, solved all these conundrums about who's not going to start, etc. So yeah, talisman theory is again something.
Yeah, for example, Eze in Crystal Palace, right? He looks like a real talisman this year for them. Definitely. That's probably the kind of guy you would go for. No, but outside of philosophy, one thing I wanted to check, since you mentioned that about eye test and that you've been playing FPL since 10 years, has it happened with you? Because I know it's happened with me. What used to happen before I started playing FPL seriously was I would watch the United games, and then outside of United games, it was if, let's say, two big teams were playing each other. Let's say an Arsenal playing Man City or a Man City playing Chelsea. That was more or less about it of what I would watch about PL. But since I started playing FPL seriously, which is the last 3-4 years, I've actually started enjoying a lot of the other games. Even if it's say Aston Villa playing West Ham, which was last week, I don't mind staying up watching those games as well. So is this something which has happened with you as well, or you actually try and watch those for FPL? Which side are you on?
Yeah, I mean, even now also, right? As you grow older a bit, unfortunately, you have lesser time for football. So, as much as possible, the priority, like for me, I would even see a Chelsea versus United versus Arsenal versus Southampton, for example. Like I don't want to see a match where there's a lot of imbalance between the teams. I like to see like closely contested matches. So I'll pick actually Chelsea versus United to see that even if my team is playing another weak team and such. So yeah, I mean, you have limited time, and I want to see most number of matches. So I tend to pick the good matches over like the other one.
But Sanjay and Praveen, I think definitely there's a disclaimer here. I mean, like if you're running into a last man standing elimination and everything depends on a Crystal Palace versus an Ipswich match.
Absolutely.
You are going to watch the shit out of that at 12:30 at night. Don't tell me tomorrow's a work day and all. You're going to watch that till the 91st minute.
This year, I think what we have 2 or 3 eliminations every 2 game weeks, right?
We've got a double elimination this game week, bro. So 2 of us are going to depart, and yeah, it could actually be anyone because I posted this on the group a couple of days back, right? 16 people don't have Haaland, right? And 10 of them are in the top half. So because people who had Salah captained him last week, as you can imagine, they're killing the classic table right now. But in LMS, things can really be shaken up. Today, Haaland plays today, and we have Salah tomorrow, right? And that's the last match of the game week. So, a lot of people are going to be sitting with, a lot of anticipation for that. Yeah, it's all going to go down to Salah and versus Brentford, right? That's going to decide our LMS with a large number of guys captaining him over Haaland.
Actually, this was one of the big dilemmas that you all had in the season, right? You knew that you wanted Haaland,
Yeah.
For this fixture. Okay, this is the money fixture. Possibly like Ipswich are coming back into the league after some 20 years. So you can expect them to be like one of the weakest teams. And coming up against City at the Etihad, this is going to be a fixture that you wanted Haaland for. Right? A lot of people are even contemplating triple captain. So if somebody is gone without Haaland and they've gone to let's say 80 points and they've taken like a 20-point lead over the rest of the field, I would actually take a hit right now. Even like sell if they've gone for a Palmer or a Saka instead of the Haaland. Sell them, get Haaland back in, and at least consolidate that lead.
Aggu, this one's for you. This is Praveen talking one-on-one with Aggu right here, guys. 80 points, hits, you had me right there.
Yeah. We're still 20 minutes away from deadline, right? Or one. Actually, 50 minutes. So somebody can actually do that now.
Yeah. We unfortunately won't go live before that, but yeah.
That's why I'm revealing all this.
And interestingly, on the same note, we saw Ipswich play game week 1 versus Liverpool, right? And since that was really Ipswich home, right? They weren't really that defensive, right? I mean, they were going out there to get goals. Maybe at Etihad, we'll see them in a slightly different state of mind, right? Maybe they'll hold back deep, try and go for one of those counter-attack goals. You never know, but obviously, if City gets in an early goal, I think it's going to be a riot. Okay, this game could easily have a 5-0, 6-0 written on it, and I think Haaland already has the record, right, for number of hat tricks he scored against the bottom or the typically promoted teams. So yeah, I mean it's going to be a very very decisive game, I would say. And yeah, two guys are not going to make it back from this week.
Yeah.
Should we move on to Praveen's team?
Yep.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so this is my team's actually. Generally when I start out a season, right, I'm super safe in the picks that I make, so that I don't have like any regrets. And I sort of went against my entire philosophy like this year, right? Like Kwanzaa was a little bit of a left field pick. I knew that there's Konate there. Barco, I've never even heard of him before. Generally, I don't make picks like that. And Solanke moving to a new team, I didn't know if he was going to start or not. Yeah. But I took a few risks this one, and it's like immediately I'm regretting all these risks that I've taken. So not a good.
I think you are probably one of the unluckiest ones, right, to have Solanke, Barco, and Kwanzaa together.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gone against me for a bit, but I'm not panicking yet. I'm not planning on taking a hit or something this week. I've actually already made my transfer. I've done Solanke to Armstrong, and so that gives me about like 2 million in the bank, and I'm sort of charting a path forward where I can do a Saka to a Salah in game week 4 or 5, because I think game week 4 and 5 there are like two good home fixtures for Liverpool. Yes. And if Liverpool are going to catch form under Arne Slot in the next 2 weeks, if I'm going to see that same second half performance against Ipswich continue, then I think I'll need Salah. Otherwise, even if I'm not captaining him, may or may not captain him, but I need him in the team. Otherwise, I could lose a lot to the field. And that's one thing that you don't want to do in FPL early on. As they say, you don't win FPL in the first game week of the season, but you can definitely lose it in the first few game weeks, right? So you just need to stay with the herd in starting. And this game will give you and each manager's playing style plenty of opportunities in 38 weeks to sort of make aggressive moves. It's not that you need to make it immediately in game week 1. So that's sort of how I usually approach. Like just stay with the herd initially, and apna time aayega to make the moves. Opportunities will appear. Yeah, so I've gone with Armstrong. What about you guys? Are you guys banking your transfer this week?
I'm banking my transfer, bro. I've been lucky in the sense I don't have injuries or any of these minutes risks. The only one I got really close to selling was Nkunku. But I think the fact that he played on Thursday was again rested after, I guess, 58 minutes or something. He came off, he scored a goal, won a penalty and scored. So I think Nkunku is one to hold for, and just looking at your team, I also see this is the advantage of having good depth on your bench, right? You've got Smith Rowe, Robinson, two guys on virtually any game week you wouldn't mind playing them, especially now that they're going to be even stronger defensively with Anderson coming in. I think Fulham is shaping up to be a really good team. I really like some of the players they got. I think Tete is really the way he bombs down the right side. That's incredible to see. They've got Emil Smith Rowe, and personally, being an Arsenal fan, I really hope Emil Smith Rowe does really well at Fulham. And obviously, I think having that kind of bench, like Rogers, for example, right? Here's a guy you can always put on the bench. You can also play him in your starting 11. I think this gives you that little bit of flexibility. And let's not forget, this year we can bank as many as 5 transfers, right? So if you can even get through 2 or 3 game weeks with slightly suboptimal players, you make those things a lot easier. Like for example, Saka to Salah, right? That's not a one move transfer, right? So you're going to need to bank up a few transfers if you don't want to take hits. So yeah, I guess that's a nice way to look at it. And I would not be transferring anyone for this game.
Yeah, so I've done Solanke to Muniz.
Nice.
I had Solanke and Baku. Thankfully, no Konsa, but yeah. So I was planning to bank my transfer till yesterday, but once the Ange press conference happened, then I decided to make that move. Especially since he said, I think there's a high likelihood that he'll be out till at least the international break. So that's 2 more game weeks. Right. I mean, this one and the next one. So then I thought, why not get in Muniz? And you already are in a way covered for Fulham with Smith Rowe. Yeah. So I had only Robinson, so I thought 2 from Fulham is still okay. So that's the reason I went for Muniz instead of Armstrong. Because even I was considering Armstrong to get that extra 0.5 for future, but then I thought might as well go with Muniz.
Yeah, and actually, I was just going to ask you that. I also could have gone Muniz, but I thought since I already have Smith Rowe, 3 on Fulham is a little
too a bit too much. I agree.
And
I have 3 Fulham not by choice. How the hell did Anderson join Fulham, man? And the worst thing is now I'm doubled up on Fulham defense. तो attacker चल जाते.
Have you guys sort of thought about or decided on when you are playing your first wild card?
Yeah, I was looking at around game week 6, around 6 or 7. Okay. One big reason being, when I started making my team before game week 1, I just looked at the first 5 fixtures.
Right.
And I thought a couple of big teams, the fixtures were coming after game week 5. So that's when I think as of now, but probably closer to game week 5, 6, I'll have a look at it again. What about you?
My hands are actually itching to do the wild card today morning, considering all these injuries and all. But
you still have some time till the deadline, bro. अभी भी कर सकता है.
But I just held off a little bit. I still want to see, some of the other teams, Chelsea especially, right? I want to know who that Chelsea pick is going to be.
Yeah.
Would it be Nkunku or is Palmer going to be an option again, etc. So there's still a few uncertainties, which is why I thought maybe it's better to just ride the storm with some free transfers. I hadn't planned, even when I set my team up, I hadn't planned for saying I'm going to wildcard in wildcard 4 or wildcard 6 or wildcard 7. I just thought it, because just from past experiences, no matter what I plan, I never execute my wildcard on that time. It's always well before that. Like if I think I'm going to play my wildcard by game week 7, it's always game week 3 or 4. So, so this time I planned for it.
We have game week 2 wildcard legends also in our league, but yeah, we'll interview them soon enough. So yeah, we'll hear from them then and there. And that's going to be one crazy session on philosophy. We'll probably not even do Bears and Bulls that day. Game week 2 wildcard, man. Wow.
So that's actually a good segue to our next segment, right? Which is actually the name of our channel.
FPL Bulls and Bears.
Yeah, so yeah, guys. So this was actually a culmination of thoughts coming from a lot of people, and I'm very glad that we can take this out to the wider community today. So Praveen suggested the name Bulls and Bears for the channel, and Sanjay was after me long ago before the season started to do something, and I thought, why not try and combine these ideas together, and here we've got a pilot that we want to try out with you guys. Let us know how you guys find it. So broadly, what we've done is we've sorted out the most transferred in players this game week and the ones most transferred out. What you see in the top left and right. At top right, you'd see the transferred in and you'd see the transferred out. We are going to classify this based on who we think are going to be bulls, right? So just like in the stock markets, you have bulls which always hit up, right? So you expect them to give you a good upside, and you have bears who kind of hit you down. And bears are going to be the ones that probably you guys don't want to be transferring into your teams anytime soon. But then again, that's just us, right? And this is just our take on it. So yeah, don't kill us if this thing goes horribly wrong for you.
Yeah.
So we'll start with the first one. Praveen, what do you think? Mazurai?
Mazurai, yeah, I was a bit surprised that Ten Hag threw him right into the mix in game week 1, right? And it's interesting because he's going to play in a right back, if I'm not wrong, Sanjay.
Yeah, right back.
Yeah, and that's competing with Dallo. Obviously, they've sold off Wan Bissaka. And so it's just going to be between Dallo and Mazurai. And I just am still not yet super convinced on United defense.
Yeah.
And also whether Mazurai has his place completely locked up over there. I think there could be some rotation. Dallo might still see some minutes. So for me, it's a bit of a wait and see. So for that, I would put him as a pair.
Nice. Next one, I think it's an obvious one, right? Unfortunate
Solanke. Most transferred out.
Yeah, he's got to be a pair. I transferred him out myself.
Next one is your guy here, Kai Havertz.
Yeah, Havertz, I definitely see him, as a bull right now because Arsenal have a good fixture in game week 3 as well. And although he has a lot of competition from Jesus, I think Havertz, you can now safely put him in the Saka category for Arsenal because, and Arteta usually talks about Saka's fitness, and he says, that he's very strong mentally and physically. And that's why he tends to start most of his games. And he's spoken in similar lines about Havertz as well, about his physical capability, his recovery periods, etc. So I think it's Havertz's place to lose. And one comfort you have with Havertz is that even if he's not going to be striker, he has that other position as the left-sided number 8 to play. So at least he's going to start. He's going to be involved. So yeah, I'm a bull on Havertz. He's not there on my team yet. It's because maybe Isak may make way for Havertz at some time in the future. But yeah, I'm definitely bullish on Havertz.
Yeah, you need the 0.5 somewhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So Ollie Watkins is actually one of the most transferred out players, right? And poor guy, he hasn't done anything wrong. Just blanked in game week 1. But people haven't turned from last year, right?
Yeah, so I think whoever has taken Watkins is, and they're transferring him out, especially now, they're probably being a little short-sighted. That's Villa's fixtures are really going to go through a smooth patch from game week onwards. They have Arsenal this week, but after that, they have a really good run, and that's the sort of time when you want Watkins because he's going to, pick up those points. Other people are going to have Haaland and Isak. They're going to find it tough to make that move. Either they have to sell Haaland to get to Watkins, or they have to upgrade Isak. So the ones who are holding on to Watkins now, they may actually find themselves in a lot of advantage.
Yes.
Given the good fixtures, and if he starts hitting form, it's going to take others some time to get Watkins into their team. So for me, he's a bull, even though he's a transfer out.
Yep.
He's a bull.
And Praveen, on that point, I'd just like to call out once again how FPL's got their pricing so spot on this year because Watkins wasn't a 9, right?
Yeah.
Like what you just mentioned about, it's not going to be easy to get him in. Like people with Isak can't just one move to Watkins, right? And of course, he's at such an awkward price point. There's no one around that price point. You straight have Haaland above him, and below that, then you've got a whole lot of options.
Right. Absolutely. I think it's been a long time coming. For a lot of seasons, FPL managers have wanted FPL to sort of make their pricing in such a way that picking out a squad of 15 should be a challenge.
Yes.
In last few seasons, we've seen that so many budget opportunities like Palmer at 5.5 have emerged that it made the entire mockery of the pricing, right? Because you could literally have any of the 11 that you wanted last season and a few seasons before that. So this season, great work by FPL. They made the pricing more challenging. That's why we're seeing a huge variety of teams, right? Even within our league, you're able to see so many different strategies being deployed, and I think that is great for FPL. Just great.
So speaking of pricing, then Jota seems to be criminally underpriced in that case. Then.
Yeah. I think minutes risk is the issue with Jota, right? That could be the reason why they've probably priced him at. He's 7.5, right?
He's 7.5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So minutes risk is the only thing. But he started in game week 1 and he scored a goal. So how does Arne Slot drop him now? He can't, right? So he has to start. He did well. He did decently in preseason also, if I'm not wrong. So I'm a bull on Diego Jota. He's in my team and he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Considering I don't have Salah, I don't have a choice as well.
Tony, I think again an easier one considering the pending transfer, right?
Yeah, correct. There's a lot of uncertainty around his transfers, and I don't think he's had too many preseason minutes as well. So even if the transfer window closes now, and he's still at Brentford, it's going to take him a while before he starts. So for that reason, I'm a bear.
Jamie Vardy, man, keeps coming back.
Legend.
The legend, like there is only one Jamie Vardy, and forever he will be in our hearts for that magical season with Leicester. Yes. But today I was like seriously thinking about Vardy, right? Because I'm looking for a Solanke replacement. I look at Vardy, then I just googled his age. He's 37 now. So although he's still got the legs in him.
That's our age, bro.
Yeah, he might. Don't tell anyone that's Sanjay. Let them think that we're younger. So anyway, I'm not sure how many minutes Vardy is going to consistently get. So for those reasons, given all the issues that people have to deal with the Kwanzas, the barcodes, etc., I think you could do without a little bit of uncertainty at this point in time. Yeah, so bear on Vardy there.
Just a footnote there, I think he's priced pretty interestingly, right? 5.5 is like pretty much bench fodder range of pricing. And like what we spoke about Jota also, I think when players are priced lower because of the minutes risks, I think that's where you can have a little bit of an arbitrage, right? Like for example, seasons where you see the likes of Doku starting game in game out. Then there are periods where because of a clutch injury to an important striker, you might suddenly see these 5.5, 6.5 strikers getting regular minutes. We've seen it in the past with Greenwood. We've seen it in the past with a lot of clubs where you suddenly a 4.5 million striker becomes viable. Like Archer, I guess some people used him.
Garnacho last year.
Garnacho last year as well, exactly. So I think I would also look at Haaland with that lens, right? I mean, if you don't have too many surgeries in the rest of your team, might be worth, because I guess with 5.5, what you're paying, right? But with Vardy, there's always the chance of that odd brace, right? And he has an excellent record against the top 6 team. So he's actually one of the more fixture-proof players that you can go for. But yeah, I mean, obviously minutes, it's all about what your risk appetite there is.
Yeah, and if he's on the pitch, he's going to be on pens as well.
Yeah, great point.
So that's another positive for Vardy. Sure.
Trippier.
Yeah.
Mostly leaving the league.
Yeah, and Livramento might become a great option if he ends up going, 4.5. I think so. Livramento is. So that'll be good. But yeah, bear on Trippier definitely. Muniz, yeah, I think Muniz, he has like good fixtures, so there's some positive upsides there. He didn't deliver in game week 1, but we've seen it from second half of last season that he has the ability to get a haul there, and he's available at 6 million, so that could turn out to be a huge bargain.
And to be fair, he did get a little unlucky. He had a couple of chances.
Yeah, right. They had. We were lucky. United were lucky there. Cole Palmer, man of the season last year.
man of the season, and what a season he had, right? But unfortunately for him and for Chelsea, again a manager change.
Yes.
And I think they bought some 10 players again this season. I might be exaggerating, but I might not as well. It could really be 10 players that they've
grossly underestimating.
So, I think it's just the uncertainty around his minutes, right? And we saw last season that Pochettino used him as a number 10 behind the striker. And that's when we saw the full potential of Palmer, his goal scoring capabilities and his chance creation and therefore assist potential as well coming. So if Palmer's going to be on the right, different system, different manager, how does that impact his points output? Is a little bit of wait and see for me.
Erling Haaland, I guess.
This is the most no-brainer. This is the most no-brainer decision. Enough said.
Speaking of no-brainers, I was just wondering, people who had Palmer in game week 1, right? Obviously, City was going to be the toughest fixture they're going to face in a long time. So why would people transfer him out in game week 2? I mean, it kind of doesn't make sense in that sense. I mean, why would you get a 10.5 million asset to face City and then immediately ship him out? I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah, maybe there are guys who don't see the fixtures and just make a team. Well, I guess these transfers out, especially if you see the likes of Mazurai transfer in, Palmer transfer out, these would be people who are probably not that engaged, made a team game week 1 and just bulk transfer outs.
Yeah, well, God bless these managers, they make us look good. These guys are the MVPs, man. They make us look good.
Barco, we are not considering because he's moved out of the league. Next one, Mo Salah.
Mo Salah, definitely a bull, right? And there were some questions about how will Mo Salah's role change in the new Arne Slot system, right? And we saw it against Ipswich, second half especially. Whenever he got the ball, he was so direct, just like running at goal, and he was always the outlet as well for all the long balls that were there. And you saw Jota again getting subbed off at 75 minutes, 78 minutes, etc., while Salah did his 90 minutes as usual. And that extra 10-12 minutes where he plays, he's doing that against those tired defensive legs, right? And he's running full sprint, full pace. That's what you get the Mo Salah for. Those extra 12 minutes against tired legs where he has a higher chance of scoring the goal. Definitely a goal.
And the penalties and the captaincy potential. I mean, you name it. Salah's got it all.
He's just FPL royalty. No doubt.
Yeah, and again, the point you all mentioned previously, right? The price points are such that difficult to get both Salah and Haaland. And that's where a lot of the variance could come in. How somebody tackles the fixtures with these two.
Right.
So I'd just like to pick your brains on that. So suppose you go with Salah and Haaland, right? A lot of people have done that. And then you've kind of hedged your two biggest single individual risks to the game, right? Because even in a week where you don't captain Haaland, just the fact that you have him, you're already doing some damage control there. So for players for managers who go with Salah and Haaland, does it make sense for them to pack up their teams with these low cost explosive options, right? It's okay if you have a minute's risk, like it's okay you have a Vardy, it's okay if he doesn't play that on, because you do have some cushion of support from Salah and Haaland both. Then do you punt with the likes of Vardy and the likes? What's your take on that? Or it's something you wouldn't do yourself?
Yeah, I think it's a super interesting thought, right? And the base assumption here is that you've already got your tracks covered. The major damage guys, you already have Haaland and Salah, so nobody else is going to do damage. So why not take a little bit of that minute risk? Not for me. I think it goes against my entire philosophy of the type of player that I am. But this time I can't really poke too many holes in that. It definitely should excite some people to go with a little bit of risk, and we have a lot of them in our league. One of them is leading the league as well right now. So definitely you can see some risky moves coming. I wouldn't be surprised if a few of our folks have gotten in Vardy.
Rodrigo, absolute beast of a player, but FPL?
Yeah, I mean, world-class player, not so much a world-class FPL asset, although he does have the ability to get the goals. We have seen that in the past, especially in clutch games. But I think there are better options available at his price range, for sure.
Guardiola?
I literally worship this man. He's the one who won me the league last year. So I am a perma bull on Guardiola. I think that he's won his place in that team, and he gets into dangerous positions. He's playing a little bit as a third centre back right now that we've seen, but I wouldn't be surprised if Pep keeps changing around that system and Guardiola gets a lot of chances. I'm still a bull on.
And especially in that City system, right, where even if you have John Stones, they do invert even their centre back. So I mean, it's not unheard of. Usually, the old wisdom of FPL used to be take the wing backs, right, in defense, because they're going to give you the odd assist. But you don't need that when you have guys like Guardiola, Gabriel Saliba giving you goals almost once every 5-6 weeks.
Right, definitely.
Anthony Gordon, man, he's in my team. I think he's in your team as well, right?
Yeah, he's in my team as well. And unfortunately, because of that red card for Newcastle last game, I don't think so we can draw any conclusions from Newcastle's performance. So I'm just going to consider, I'm not even going to consider that game. So I was bullish on Gordon to start the season with. And I think we can take a more concrete decision on him after this week.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to give him more time. So I would still put him in the Bulls category.
Wood. It's a fast ball, sorry.
Chris Wood. Chris Wood is the tricky guy. He definitely has the ability to get in goals, and I think a lot of his output last season came in when Avoni was injured, was out injured, and he was the sole striker there. But this season, Avoni also got in minutes, I think so, in game week 1. So he's still a little bit of rotation risk. I'm not yet sure whether if he's first choice or not. But they have good fixtures, and at that price point of 6 million, I think Muniz is a better option because he's more sure to start. Yes. And just for that reason, I think I'll put him as a pair.
Interesting.
Eze? I think Eze is a easier one.
We spoke about talismanic players earlier, right? So
yes.
This guy's the perfect definition of that, especially after Olise is left, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. I had this choice before the season began, right? Game week 1, I could either go Eze and Muniz, which was going to be 13 million, or I could go Solanke and Smith Rowe. So I just went with Solanke and Smith Rowe in the start of the season because I thought Solanke is going to start, and Postecoglou had given some comments. And Eze, there was some uncertainty around his release clause being triggered, etc. So, but I think he was almost robbed of a goal in game.
Yeah, man.
The one that referee blew.
I have him in my team, and yeah, man, that was painful to watch.
So the referee apparently acknowledged it to him, right, after the match in person. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, such is FPL.
Super unlucky for Eze owners. Definitely, bull on him. He's going to do well this season. He's probably going to be the standout value buy of this season. Points per million, he could turn out to be the highest.
I have a feeling that's going to happen to Smith Rowe as well, considering he's just 5.5. But yeah, we'll wait and see. As a whole, I'm pretty bullish on Fulham this year. Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Bernardo Silva.
But yeah, he's priced beautifully, right? At about like 6.5 million, makes you want to go for him. But given that they've added a little bit of personnel to the wings, I think Savinho has come in now in the wings. And even in midfield, Gundogan has also come.
Gundogan is back, yes. So
he is going to see competition, whether if he is going to play on the outside or on the inside. And purely for those minutes risk, I think like he's an avoid for me now.
Fair enough.
Yeah, Anderson. I think like the fixtures for Fulham are like so good that I'm bullish on him.
Good, man, good. I think the good part is if you see the transfers in, transfers out, it's pretty 50-50 split. Half of the transfers in are actually bears for us, and half of the transfers out are
bulls for us.
Bulls for us.
Yeah. What about you guys? Do you guys have a different opinion on any of these classification that we've done? Or
not really. I mean, the only one which I would have probably been a bit more 50-50 was Guardiola. Again, you gave the reasons yourself. I mean, if you see the first game, he was one of the three centre backs, and Rico Lewis was the one who came much more forward. So Guardiola, I felt, was playing slightly withdrawn. But yeah, otherwise, all the other picks I think were pretty obvious. What you mentioned.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. I wonder, but if when Walker comes back,
yes,
if he gets his place instead of Rico Lewis, then I guess he might be the one who's
yes,
behind, and Guardiola might take in some of those central involvement roles. I'm banking on that from Guardiola. Let's see.
And I think it will also depend on their opponent, right? Against Chelsea, probably Guardiola was not that advancing, but
absolutely
we'll find out against Ipswich, and I'm going to be pretty tense during that match, despite having Haaland.
Yeah. Great stuff.
Great stuff, man. We are recording this now very close to the deadline.
Whoa.
Okay. Yeah, 21 minutes to get deadline. Sanjay, what are your moves for this week? Your bank?
I did Solanke to Muniz.
That's
yeah.
Did you catch the price rise?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
So that was the idea. I checked somewhere that he's about to rise, and so while Solanke didn't drop, but Muniz did rise. So yeah, I did it before that.
How particular are you guys about catching price rises and avoiding price drops in general?
I used to be crazy about it. So Praveen, you introduced me to FPL around Joka times, right? And that time, whenever there used to be a game week deadline, as soon as the app would refresh, first thing I would go make a transfer, right? And I used to get that itch key. I have to change something, and so many times it's happened that that player's gotten injured or something else has happened or someone else gets suspended. So of late now I have actually started doing my transfers typically on deadline day. I'm not saying just before the deadline, but at least I'll wait till that morning to make sure that okay, if someone's going to get injured at that point, that is just plain bad luck, right? But I've started trying to delay it. Although the only exception would be is when say probably towards the end of the season, where you have a couple of game weeks left, and like say you have 0.2 or 0.3 in the bank, right? And the player who you want to buy is going to cost you exactly that much, right? With the 0.2. So in that case, I may not even wait, right? As soon as the deadline comes, I'll make the transfer. So it really depends on situation, but I've learned that more often than not, making the early transfer to save that price rise is not worth it in the long run. You end up making way worse decisions, I think, sometimes. So I've stopped looking at that FPL statistics and all, right? There used to be that FPL statistics.uk, and it used to tell you that okay, Guardiola's going up in price tonight, Saka's going down tonight. I've just stopped looking at all that. I've realized it's one additional variable that I don't need to spoil my FPL experience.
Absolutely, we have enough on our plates already.
Although if we have a price for highest team value, like in the past we've had that price in our Toons leagues, right? So if that price is there, some of us might chase after it. And I guess
play for that,
some people end up getting some monster price team values. I've seen 107 in all in the past.
Yeah, 107 is something I've seen,
yeah. What about you, Sanjay? You care about price rises? You catch them?
First half of the season, I care a little more. But but still, even during that, I try and avoid transfers right when the game week starts.
Right.
But first half of the season, at least try and catch some of these players who are maybe going to rise a lot. I mean, let's say there are some underpriced players who go from 5.5 to 6.5. You try and catch them early, gets you that team value, which helps you in the second half of the season. But yes, even in that, I don't typically do my transfers in the first 1 or 2 days. I wait at least till the middle of the game week to make my move.
Yeah, definitely makes sense.
भाई but उसका अलग ही satisfaction है. आप refresh होते ही transfer lock. उसका match हुआ भी नहीं है locked. It's a lot of fun. Okay, boys. Thanks a lot for this. This was a lot of fun.
पुराने content के में the editing part.
Dude, this was going to go until you said edit.
Okay, so now it's an edit.
सब कुछ जाएगा, one take करता है full.
Is it an edit now? So seriously, I'm asking, you're going to edit that out, right?
हाँ कर सकते, अब तो करना पड़ेगा, अब तो ज़्यादा खिंच लिया.
Yeah, and that was like the big decision before this season sort of like started, right?
Yeah.
Like you knew that you needed Haaland for this particular week.
Sanjay is getting raided by his kids.
Sorry, that was my daughter.
That's okay, man. That's absolutely
yeah, sorry. I'm back.
No worries whatsoever.
And so,
but yeah.
So,
एक second, हाँ, you're right.
1 second.
अच्छा वो लाइव स्ट्रीम नहीं कर रहे यार अपन.
I don't think I'm ready for live stream.
Yeah. Live stream, I'll have to go to my parents' place.